Welcome to the Roto Wire Start Sit Show for Week 6 halftime Broncos Jets 10-6 Broncos lead. Do not understand the Jets have a chance in the 2-minute offense to move the ball. They are not making any attempt to be aggressive. Isaiah Davis has been the passing down back. Do not get that one when they have Brees Hall on the team. The Broncos spreading it all around. Evan Ingram with 4 targets. Franklin has 4, but they have about 7 other people with targets in this game. So they're spreading it around. But again, very, very conservative. 10-6 game. J.K. Dobbins, a little more than 2 yards a carry. Not really going there. Maybe the second half be a little more interesting. Let's get to some starts here. Questions. Got a couple super chats to start us out. Got Chris, half point, pick 2. Pittman, McMillan, Olave. McMillan could not have an easier matchup. He's been a floor play all year, but there is no reason to stay away from him this week. If there's ever going to be a game where McMillan's going to get it done, it's this week, so I'm very excited for him. Olave's been a floor play all year. That's all he's been. There's really been no ceiling. And even though he gets more targets than Pittman, I have to say that Pittman has a similar floor, but he has more ceiling. Saints really aren't scoring a lot of touchdowns. Could see being really low scoring against New England. That could be a very, very possible result here. I would be inclined to go with McMillan and Pittman because I think they have a little more upside than Olave. And of course, that's that Olave goes 8 for $112 and 2 touchdowns, but we haven't seen evidence that that's going to happen. So I'm pretty confident with that one. Thomas C. Need a receiver and a flex, PPR. McMillan, Pittman, Swift, and Pollard. So just like I gave the advice to Chris, I think we're going to go with McMillan and Pittman. I do like their opportunities here. Swift is always a volume play, right? He very inefficient as a runner, but he gets targets every week. Washington's very good against the run. Bobby Wagner can still do something as run defend. Pollard finally has a good matchup. He's probably going to lose a little bit of the work to Tyjae Spears, but Pollard finally has a matchup where he can do a little something. I have as my running back 20 with upside, and I do have him ahead of DeAndre Swift, who also I think has upside, but the upside is more on volume. So that said, Tony Pollard, I would go with him as my third. Because I think McMillan and Pittman are both pretty safe this week, so I'd keep them ahead of Pollard as well. I actually got to take that upside tag off of Swift. I think he's more of just a regular play at running back 23. I do have Ryan Flanoy as an upside play at wide receiver 36 because he could get things going against Carolina. Neither here nor there, but I might get questions on him. All right. Roll some questions. All right. Intrepid. Halloween came early. You have him in IR. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of every year's a lot of injuries. I get that, but in the moment, it's been rough. And boy, the wide receiver position has been a mess too for fantasy this year between injuries and lack of performance. You need a flex, 2 flex, half PPR. Haskins, Miller, Gainwell, Fannin, or Franklin. Well, unfortunately, the Franklin question you asked us at 1:34 a.m. Franklin's already playing, so I don't know if you played him or not. Of the remaining, you know what? Alvin Kamara is apparently limited with an ankle, and Miller's been getting more work each week. So of this group, I've been inclined to get Kendre Miller in. And then basically what we're hearing on Hassan Haskins, and is the report most recent from NFL Network, is that he is going to start out as the lead back, and volume's king in fantasy football. And if that's the plan, they're going with Miami is not a good defense. Haskins is not a good running back, but volume. So I would just probably go with Haskins and Miller there. Fannin did get the touchdown last week, but it seems 1 week small sample size that it might be David Njoku, who's a little more weaponized. Kenny Gainwell probably goes back to an ancillary role with Jalen Warren healthy. Tight end waiver, need 1 half PPR. Juwan, Fanning, or Taylor. Again, Taylor already played. You asked us at 3:13 in the morning, so that one isn't going to help you. But and I know Juwan's been down the last couple of games, but I would be inclined to give him one more shot before making a decision. But I think right now we give him one more shot. And next one, J Dub, should you trade Ibuka for CD? It's a great question. I personally, I would. Ibuka's and it, like, remember Jalen McMillan last year? He scored like touchdowns every single game in like the last 6 games. And it's like Ibuka's picked right up there. It's like a touchdown every game. Now Ibuka's gotten yardage the last 2 weeks. They've really gone through the roof. But at some point, if Evans is back healthy, I have no idea if Godwin's going to get healthy, but if it becomes a three-man game, it's going to be tough for all three to produce. Where CeeDee Lamb, he's going to get his, and Lamb could be back next week. So, look, a lot of people don't ever want to give up Ibuka, but CeeDee Lamb could be the number one overall receiver once he gets back. And I don't think Ibuka has that level of ceiling. So I would acquire CeeDee Lamb. Jeff, good morning. Half PPR, Swift or McConkey? I do like McConkey this week. A lot of people have McConkey. I'm going to point this out. So, first of all, they're down to a third string right tackle. Pipkins is out. They're down to obviously, we know they're down to a second string left tackle. And Miami can do one thing. They have the potential for a pass rush, and they blitz a lot. And what I expect is Herbert's going to have to get the ball out quickly. And Quentin Johnston's not expected to play. I expect both Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey to each get in the range of 10 targets. So that, for me, moves McConkey up. This is a week I love McConkey. And I was out on him this season. But this week, I think it's a phenomenal setup for him. Dak or Drake, you can't lose at either one. They're both quarterback ones. I got Dak as my quarterback 3. May is my quarterback 7. Both have the downside where their rushing attacks could do well enough that they're not needed. But Dallas, the reason Dak's higher, Dallas's defense always seems to put them in a spot where they have to score points. So that's why I give Dak the edge. Now they're playing Carolina, but Dallas's defense is horrible. And I know Taylor Moton, starting tackle, is out for Carolina. But again, you can't go wrong with either one. But they're that close. I do give Dak the edge. Dak's playing great. Scott Cobe, you've got a super chat. You need 2 in a PPR. Metcalf, Pickens, Myers, Thornton, Warren. Weather right now, the worst weather report we have is Baltimore. 23% chance of rain, which means 77% there's no rain. 16-mile-an-hour winds, which doesn't mark the threshold where weather is a problem. Metcalf doesn't get enough targets, but look, they're playing a lot of man coverage. They traded away Greg Newsome this week. Even if Ward goes on Metcalf has him by 40 pounds. Metcalf has gotten it done for fantasy, no matter whether it's a touchdown, big play. I do like Metcalf here. And Pickens is like almost, you can't sit him because Dak's going to throw the ball to him. He's a red zone guy. He's a downfield guy. Myers probably has a good floor this week. I do think a bounce back, but if Geno has another garbage game, you can't afford that. So right now, and Thornton, again, the targets are going to be really difficult. Last week, they did move Worthy kind of out of the downfield role a bit, so Thornton got a little bit more. But I don't want to trust Thornton over those other established guys. Jaylen Warren, here's the thing. We don't know this. How much of the work did Kenny Gainwell earn with that last game? And they always like to go away from Warren. And Warren's playing Cleveland. Good luck when he's running the ball because he ain't getting anywhere. So I'm going to go with those receivers, Scott. I'm going to go with DK and Pickens and call it a day. Thanks for the super chat there. Jeff, Walker or Judkins? So Walker lives on the outside run, and he's fortunately faced a few defenses that can't stop the outside run because he always runs to the corner store. He got away with it. Jacksonville, the one thing they've been great at is their run defense has been lights out to the perimeter. To me, that makes it a horrible matchup for Walker. And Walker's in like a complete timeshare with Charbonnet. Charbonnet, other than the week he was out, gets the touchdowns, and Walker gets a little more yardage. They both get you 8 to 12 PPR points a game. Judkins is a superstar. And last week he had a long touchdown call back by a holding call. But Judkins gets it done every week as a receiver, as a runner. He's good at the goal line. Offensive line is getting healthier. To me, Judkins is a running back 1 rest of schedule. End of sentence. All right, next we've got Dana. There was tweet. Did Garrett Wilson get in an argument with his coach? Maybe. We'll see. Maybe for running the ball. I bet you did get in an argument. I would argue with him for saying, what are we doing? Throw the ball, dude. Aaron Glenn. Let's play defense. All right. Anyway, get back to it. We've got Dana next. Goff, Scadaboo, Stevenson, Waddle, Wilson. I got a whole bunch of names here. Any changes? All right, let me see. I'll just tell you players I might get rid of. If you could upgrade from Lawrence has too many bad games. Last week he ran, and that was nice. Yeah, that's the only one I could see. That those questions are best hitting me up for roster changes at Jim Coventry NFL on the X. Monday, I answer all kinds of questions like that because this one probably doesn't bother you so much today. But for waivers, I'm happy to get those on Monday. That's a real complicated detail one, but I could give you a lot more detail when we have plenty of time to handle that one. It's a great question though. Brian, half PPR, Fergie or McBride? Yeah, you sent me that one in a message as well. I have him as my tight end 1 and 2. I think McBride actually is in better shape with Jacoby Brissett. Brissett's not going to run like Murray does. He runs a little bit, but he's not a mobile quarterback like that. And I do think that he's going to be very comfortable throwing to McBride, but I have him as my 1 and 2. So basically, we're talking a coin flip. McBride, is a better player, obviously, by far. They're playing Indy. They probably have to chase points. They don't have a running game. They probably got to throw. Whereas there's other factors with Ferguson. Maybe Javonte Williams plays so well they don't have to pass as much. So McBride I have McBride ahead, so just play him. But there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with playing Ferguson if you have a field because Ferguson has just been getting a gazillion targets and kind of hard. And like you said, I'm a Ferguson guy, that, but hard to sit McBride. All right. Unite Santini, Carter, Monty, Trey Hendrickson. I kind of lost. Henderson. Man, I saw Hendrickson. Oh my God. Travion Henderson. You mean Travion Henderson. Sorry about that. And Jamison Williams. Who do I sit? You know what? If you look at Jamison Williams' numbers, other than the game when the Bears lost 2 cornerbacks during the game, and in the last 22 minutes, he had 2 long plays, he has not been startable for fantasy. Henderson doesn't get a lot of work, and they're talking about giving Terrell Jennings real work this week. They must have it in their mind. They want a 3-man backfield there. Carter's going to get volume. Montgomery gets enough volume. I would be in. So you know what? Really though, Henderson doesn't have a lot of upside. So I would, if you want a little chance at upside, I would play JMO over Henderson. If you want to have a few point floor, like maybe a 7-point range, then Henderson gets you a little better floor than JMO. But JMO could connect on a big play, and there's that. Oh, I think I got some more super chat. Hang on, Ethan. Super chat. Yeah, we got more super chat here. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I'm sorry. He said a few minutes. It didn't pop up on my screen. All right. John, 2 of Tongas, Charbonnet, Pacheco need upside. So the 49ers get Juwan Jennings back, which is going to give them another receiver. Obviously, when they have everybody out, Tongas becomes a bigger deal because there's less to throw to. So, but Tongas is going to get some looks, that's for sure. Charbonnet, Jacksonville's not as good against the interior run, but I don't know that he gets more carries than usual. You're always banking on a touchdown, but I think Charbonnet is going to be more bankable than Tongas. With Pacheco, look, I pointed this out 2 weeks ago, and I confirmed it last week. He looks way more explosive last week, but the team's still not giving him work, and Hunt's getting the goal line. So I'd be inclined to sit Pacheco. And remember, the matchup is not good against Detroit. Detroit's lights out against the run. So probably Tonjas and Charbonnet. And then, so Scott, we got your question already. And then Thomas C, play London over. Yeah, you need 2. Tom over. So very difficult to go wrong. And McMillan, like I said, has not had that game you've wanted yet. This is a matchup where he could have that game. Drake London usually gets the targets. Even if Benford defends London has a physical mismatch there. I do think that London is, he has shown that he can have the ceiling games. He's more inclined to score touchdowns than Ted McMillan. He is more inclined to have 15 targets. He's had games like that than Ted McMillan. So I just think because of those factors, you play London. Both are in great spots. There's both scenario for downside. And I would play McMillan over Pittman. I would sit Pittman in these groups because in the Pittman game, there's a really good chance that playing Arizona, Indy gets a lead and they run the ball more than usual. So they might not need to throw a ton. So I might sit Pittman of those. And Brent, Jennings or Thornton. I know Jennings is limited, but we see this all the time with players, right? If they're on the field and they're playing, Shanahan's not one to typically bring a player back to use him as a decoy. So Jennings is probably well enough to play. So I'm confident that Jennings is going to get his 6+ targets here. And Thornton is going to be real hit or miss because if there's game, and I know that Detroit's down some corners, but Detroit has some pass rush ability with Hutchinson. So maybe they don't develop the deep passing game. Thornton's riskier. Thornton's boomer bust, but I think Jennings has floor and potential ceiling. So that's why I tend to lean toward Jennings because the floor should be more stable. Like I said, the injury at this point, because he's active, does not really bother me a whole lot. All right. Thomas, Henry, Higgins, or Swift. And I assume you mean Derrick Henry, not Hunter Henry. So Derrick Henry, Higgins, or Swift. The highest floor player of those is Swift because we know he'll usually get you about 4 targets. He'll normally get you 12 to 15 carries, and it's not a great matchup, but he has a stable floor. I do like Higgins here because I expect Flacco to play out of the shotgun and to get the ball out quickly. And the Green Bay corners are not a big deal. So I would be in, and Derrick Henry's tough because, like, again, with really no Lamar, it's really a bad situation. So I would be more inclined to go with Higgins here and take my shot there. Like I said, Derrick Henry, hate to say bench him, but I don't know what to do with him right now. I put him down to running back 18 with downside. Could he break a big play? Yes. Can we predict it? I don't think that's reasonable to think that's going to happen at all. Super chat should be caught up. And let's see where it bounced me on my questions now. I got to mark time on this. All right. So let's see. We should be on. All right. We should be here now. We should be on Ethan's question. Jets are moving the ball. They're finally running Justin Fields a little bit on purpose. Imagine that. They must have. I bet the players really got in on Aaron Glenn at halftime. Like, what the heck are you doing, dude? I'd imagine that. All right, Ethan, good morning to you. PPR, you need one. Michael Carter, DeMercado, Juwan Johnson, Isaiah Bond, Kendre Miller, or Vidal. Michael Carter seems to be the one who has the most volume opportunity. He had 5 catches last week, and that meant a lot because, a lot of people were thinking maybe DeMercado would be the passing back, and, well, DeMercado may come in and hurry up, but we see they're happy to throw the ball to Carter, and that Brissett can make those dump offs. So based on what you have going here, Carter has the most bankable floor. And since Juwan Johnson's had a couple down weeks, that's a little bit of a concern. Vidal is supposed to have a role, according to NFL Network, and that's not enough to move him into that one. All right. Danielle, starting the Raiders defensive special teams, Bills DST on your bench. Titans, Buccaneers, and Saints are available. Buccaneers, they're going to blitz Mac Jones, but Shanahan's probably going to be able to have some answers here, so I wouldn't think a whole lot of them. Saints are playing New England. New England should have a lot of ways to move the ball, and they're pretty safe on offense. The Titans are interesting because they're playing Geno Smith, who has just imploded. So there definitely is thought to that. Whereas the Raiders, I almost think that the Titans are in better shape. I would, and then the Bills, you can't really, I don't know, you really probably can't consider them a whole lot here against Atlanta, but, Penix could throw picks. You know what? Maybe just go with your best defense because if the Bills get a lead and if Michael Penix has to become one-dimensional, we could see some sacks. And don't be surprised if the Bills come out and play well as they're coming off a loss. So I'd probably just go with the best defense here and just see if they could get game script going their way and maybe it turns into a pick 6 or something like this. Kevin, good morning. Thank you. I am feeling better. Yeah, it was a rough 10 days. Don't get old and sick. That's the lesson to be learned. Not that I could change it. You need 2 from the following in a PPR. Chase Brown, Hassan Haskins, Monty, Diggs, Jennings, Juwan Jennings, and Brian Thomas Jr. Wow. So you need 2 of them. So we'll wait a week on Chase Brown. I do think things are going to open up for him with Flacco in the game. Haskins, I don't think – just because he's not good and you have other players who are good, I think that kind of limits the option there. I do think that Diggs is playing on fire. There's nothing problematic about his matchup. I do worry the Patriots have a letdown, but look, Diggs has become the clear number 1, so I think we have to play him there. And then your question comes, Monty, it all depends on game flow, right? I think Monty probably has the best floor of this group. But Brian Thomas Jr. has been getting 8 or 9 PPR points a game, so maybe that floor is equal with him. So I would probably go. I definitely going with Diggs, and then Thomas Jr. is your floor play. Your boomer bust play is Jennings because with Tampa blitzing a lot, there could be something to be had. But he is, again, all players are nicked up. But I think that floor of Thomas has been good enough to say go back to him. Again, he hasn't been the player you wanted, but he at least has had a floor. And the Jets going for a field goal attempt there, hit that 10-9, 10-25 left in the third quarter. All right. Got a super chat, and then we got to come back to Delroy. All right. Got the next one here. All right. Peasy, Myers or Shaheed. So Myers at least is getting targets with 6 and 7 in the last 2 weeks. The production wasn't good, but this matchup, there no defense is gonna sell out to stop Myers, and Myers moves around the formation. I do think Myers has a safer floor. Shaheed was able to get a touchdown that the defense completely misplayed, a long touchdown, but those aren't going to be the norm for him. And so I do think Jacoby Myers, although he's been horrible the last 2 weeks, he'll get you something, but I think that something is more than something. I think it's more like 6 catches. I think it's more like 55 or 60 yards today. And I think that floor makes him safer than Shaheed. Shaheed could always at any time get a long touchdown, but that'll happen 3 times all year with the quarterback he has. So betting on that is again, that's if you feel like you really got to shoot for the moon, because it's really tough to get those on a regular basis. Fabian, good morning. You have Quentin Johnson out, which he apparently is. I don't know how that report got past me, but I saw this morning I was doing the XM show that he's expected to be out. So Haskins or Flanoy. Flanoy I have as an upside play. Haskins is supposed to get the volume, and I just don't know what he's going to do. I mean, it's really tough because he's not a good player. Miami's a bad defense. So I guess I would say Haskins isn't getting enough volume to be a high floor play for you. He has to get volume. He has to get something for floor for you. And there's something to be said for that. Flanoy coming off the big game, they're playing Carolina. And look, I don't know how they're going to deploy their corners, but if they're going to deal with J.C. Horn and they're going to do anything, if they're going to move him, which they may not, it's going to be toward Pickens. It's certainly not going to be toward Flanoy. So Flanoy is an upside play here. But if you want just base floor, I think Haskins is this really, volume-based floor play, should get you 10 PPR points, should get you 10. I don't know that he gets you a whole lot more. He could fall in the end zone. That could always happen. So that's there. But Flanoy does have real upside here. Flanoy's risky because of the Javonte gets going in the run game. They may not need to pass a whole as much as I'd like them to see. So there's a little more, whereas Haskins is probably going to get some work regardless. And again, that Miami defense, I call it purposely pillow soft every week because I want you to know that you target them. So yeah, Haskins is a good floor play. All right, let's see where we're at here on the questions. And we should be around. Let me see right here. All right, got this one next. Delroy. Jaden Daniels or Prescott. I have them as 2 and 3. Daniels hasn't been running for a ton, but the Bears defense is not good. And I don't think a bye week is going to change that for them. Washington, I could see a shootout there, but I could see a shootout in Dallas, Carolina too. They're joined at the hip in my rankings. You can't go wrong with either one. Daniels is more likely, even though he hasn't been a big runner this year, he's more likely to run than Prescott, which Prescott has had some rushing capability. So I have him 2 and 3. I would give Daniels the edge based on that one spot ranking higher. Delroy, Bourne or Io Manor. Even though Jennings is back, Bourne had like a 4.32 before that big breakout last week. He has played with Mac Jones back in New England. So Io Manor just and it is a better matchup for Io Manor for sure. But I could just see so many scenarios in that Raiders Tennessee game. I could see that game, both teams running the ball more than usual. I don't think the 49ers are going to be able to run the ball on Tampa. Tampa's so good, and McCaffrey as a receiver has been great, but as a runner, not so much. I would tend to go with Bourne here. I'd go with Bourne. You're not getting the 10 for 142, but I don't see any reason you wouldn't get 4 or 5 catches for 45 or 50 yards, and Io Manor's floor is just low. So, yeah, I would go with that route. Kevin, need 3 from these in a half PPR. Monty, Henry, Pollard, Higgins, Pittman, Thomas Jr., Devontae Adams. The weather is not supposed to be an issue. I'm gonna do one more check on the weather in Baltimore. All right, so Baltimore, see where it's at. It's still 23% chance of rain. That means there's a 77% chances isolated rain showers. That's no issue. 17-mile-an-hour winds. It really doesn't hit that 20-mile-an-hour threshold. So Devontae Adams, I don't think there's any reason to worry about and sit him. So definitely get Devontae Adams in there. And Brian Thomas Jr. has a floor. And I think that floor, you're getting used to it. It's like 8 points to 10 points. He gets that almost every game. He had 12 last week. I think the floor is enough where you say it's solid. And then Pittman's probably your nice best blend of floor and volume as the third. You could make cases for Pollard. Pollard, I don't know how much Tyjae Spears is going to be involved here, but Pollard has a good matchup. And you could make the case, but Pollard hasn't shown much ceiling. And so, and then Higgins, I think because you have other good options, we wait to see the Flacco experiment. If you didn't have good options, I like Higgins this week, but I think you have to wait because you have those options to see how it works out with Flacco. Let me just check the super chat before I get back to John. I got him already. I'm good there. All right, John. Would I drop Juwan Johnson for Mason Taylor? You probably can't drop Taylor now because his game is being played, but if he's on your bench, you might be able to. Short answer is probably yes. Watching this game, you're going to say no because Taylor hasn't seen anything. But Taylor is going to be the number 2 receiver in this offense, and we hope they throw more than they're throwing in this game. Whereas Juwan Johnson is, he's the number 3. And we've seen now Taysom Hill back. I know they don't play the same position, really. Are they going to change the snaps? Johnson's still seeing a high snap rate percentage-wise. Targets have gone down. Mason Taylor's targets are going up. Jets are going to trail a lot. I probably would make that move. Obviously, if you can't drop Taylor because his game started already, that's a good thing because I'm giving Johnson one more week in my leagues because I think that he's on the field enough to merit keeping. Delroy, full PPR start 3. Pollard, Jonathan Taylor, Dowdle, and Stevenson. So Taylor and Dowdle, I think they have to be in. And Stevenson, we can't trust him. He's still putting the ball on the carpet. Anytime he could be pulled, anytime. And you can't take that risk when you got Pollard, who has got a bankable floor. And Pollard finally is a good matchup. So we're sitting Ramondre Stevenson here. Stevenson's a very good player. He scored 2 touchdowns. Was it 7 carries for 15 yards or something like that? But yeah, he is just unfortunately unreliable because the minute he fumbles, he is going to be at risk because it's way too many fumbles. And he has a history of that too. Prescott or Caleb? I have Prescott at quarterback 3, Caleb at quarterback 6. Caleb's been great for fantasy. The only game he was bad is against that Raiders. That was a weird game, Bears Raiders. But look, Prescott's playing at an extremely high level. Didn't matter if CD's there or not. I just think at this point it's really hard to sit Prescott in what should be a very favorable matchup. Caleb is a great play at quarterback 6 as well. I don't think either one of them is the wrong answer, but yeah, Prescott's been playing phenomenal football. Chris, good morning. Back to Caleb. Caleb could go off here. Coming out of the bye, there's a lot of range of outcomes for the Bears. One of those, they figure out the offense, they get Moore and Odunze involved, and they go off for 30 points. That's in the range. So I would say trust your gut on that one. Now, Chris, more than you take a chance with Chase. Oh, yeah. No, definitely. It was an illness. When we see these players pop, especially Friday, when we see players pop on the injury report with an illness on a Friday, it's usually not an issue at all. Saturday, it was reported he'll be fine to play. So they're really good at hydrating players and doing whatever medically they need to do to get them going. So I don't think there's any reason to worry about Chase. And I'm really happy Flacco's in. My belief is they will definitely put him in the shotgun. And Flacco does well out of the shotgun, and just because he can die, he's been playing football for almost 20 years, right? He can get the ball out quickly, and he can read what the defense is doing. So, and he has 2 receivers, unlike some of his other stops. Yeah, so I wouldn't worry about Chase here. Oh, you're replacing with Romo Dunze, but well, that's funny you say that, and I didn't even see the end of that. I just Chase, you see him, and don't ever set him. Odunze probably has a safer floor. But my rule of thumb is you never sit Jamar Chase if he's on the field because he's capable of that game at any time. Chris, pick half PPR, pick 1. Rashad White, Rico Dowdle, Judkins. Wow, that's a good problem. You got 4 great options. I don't think you can go wrong with either one. I think I have Judkins ranked the highest at running back 10. Dowdle at running back 12. I think Dowdle has more upside than Judkins for sure. I think Judkins has a higher floor. So it's really what you want. Judkins has bankable volume as a runner and a receiver, and he's being used very well. Whereas Dowdle is your ceiling play, not the 200 yards, but Dallas is not a good run defense. And so Judkins is safer. Dowdle has more upside. White and Etienne are nice, but I think their volatility is more significant than Dowdle and Judkins. Delroy, start 2 full PPR. Tucker, DJ Moore, Coleman. I'm inclined to give DJ Moore one more shot. He's been close to 10 PPR points in every game. I think he had a 7.8 in there. But so it's been terrible. It's not what you wanted, but he certainly has gotten you something. And I have to think out of the bye that the Bears got to figure out a way because Washington is so gettable through the air. So I would go to DJ Moore here. And then look, Keon Coleman, it's been a problem because they have been if they're in a big shootout, he's great. And what this profile is a shootout. And you think back to week 1 when they played Baltimore and Keon Coleman goes off. So I think this game has more shootout potential. Trey Tucker is really tough to count on, especially if there's a low scoring game and they don't need to air it out as much. So I would just be inclined to give Coleman a shot because that game really could shoot out. And that's the kind of game. I mean, I'm sorry, they're playing Atlanta. I got that Buffalo, Atlanta, but that game could shoot out. And if it does shoot out, and even though Atlanta got their top cornerback, AJ Terrell, not worried about it. Not worried at all about it. So see, Justin Fields had to run on a 3rd down and short. Looks like he got the 1st down easily. All right. Delroy, Mayfield or Goff? Mayfield is the toughest person for me to give analysis on because he just finds a way to get it done every week. And that's the thing. He has per PFF was it like 9 turnover worthy plays, but he only has 1 interception. If he runs some weeks he finds a way to just manufacture some touchdowns. So Mayfield, he just gets it done every week. I cannot give you fair analysis on him. Whereas Jared Goff, I really worry that Spagnuolo throws some confusing looks. And if you get Jared Goff confused, it could get ugly. So Mayfield's been getting it done every week, and I don't see a reason why it wouldn't happen here. So I know Godwin's up, but Godwin didn't do anything anyway. So I would be inclined to go Mayfield because Mayfield will run too if he has to. Chris, half PPA, half point, need 2 and a flex. Allen, Thornton, Bourne, McConkey, and Carter. So I said earlier that with Quentin Johnson out and 3rd string right tackle, backup left tackle, the running backs are not good. I think there's going to be a lot of short and intermediate. So I think Allen and McConkey both could see like 10 targets. And in that scenario, I think they're both playable. And then I think for volume, Michael Carter has the best floor because, again, 5 catches last week in addition to rushing attempts. So I think that is useful. Kendrick Bourne is a nice consideration coming up to 10 for 142, but I think your other options are more likely to cash. Thornton gets real hit or miss, and we love the deep shots. And he's been very reliable there. But the healthier Worthy gets, the more likely he begins to see some of that downfield love. So, but I tell you, Thornton has been great. He has been great. Man, the Patriots, what are they doing? They could have had that young man. All right, Master J3, good morning. Waller or Pitts? Waller right now seems like a really important part of that offense. And you might say Derwin James going to cover him, but really we see Waller in the slot a lot, using him as a slot receiver. So it's not like he's been like a classic tight end. And his snap share went up last week. All of his targets came in the first half, but I think his role is going to increase week by week. Whereas Pitts, his role is volatile. We don't know what we're going to get out of it, but we know right now Waller's a major part of what they're doing. And we know Mike McDaniel knows how to use the tight end. So I would go with that and just keep riding it. Njoku or Pitts. Njoku had 9 targets with Dylan Gabriel. Now, is it sticky? Maybe, maybe not. But Pittsburgh's horrible against tight ends. Pittsburgh has a pass rush, so Gabriel's got to get it out quickly. I think Njoku has a higher floor than Pitts, and I think they have similar ceilings. Judkins or Bill Krosky-Merritt. Krosky-Merritt looks great running to the outside, and the Bears defense is not very good, and we know Washington will lean into the run. Judkins is a superstar. I mean, Judkins is a complete, absolute superstar. I got Merritt at running back 14. I got Judkins at running back 10. In my mind, Judkins more likely to score a touchdown. Pittsburgh's not a good defense this year, and so they can be had there. So I would look, it's close. Trust your gut. I would lean toward Judkins. It's just a superstar. It's hard to sit him. The Colts have made Anthony Richardson their number 3 quarterback, and he's inactive. Christian Gonzalez, also on a side note, is playing today per Adam Schefter. Good for the Patriots defense. Delagizi's next. Daniels or Caleb. Again, I got Daniels my quarterback 2. Caleb was my quarterback 6. You can't go wrong. There's a range of outcomes for Williams. If the Bears really come out with a good game plan coming off their bye, it's very possible they shred and dice Washington, and Williams has a massive game. But Daniels seems safer. Daniels seems like he's going to have a more stable floor. And look, other than that game against the Raiders, Caleb's had a great floor. He's over 20 fantasy points in 3 of those 4 games. You can't go wrong with either. I think you go with the player that's been mostly getting it done. And I think if you look at the points, probably Caleb Williams actually probably scored a little better than Jaden Daniels. But the Bears' defense is really bad. And Washington's at home. It's a coin toss because they're that close in the rankings. But I would tend to go with Jaden Daniels. Bears are terrible. Chris, good morning. Appreciate you. Thank you. 6-point passing touchdown, Dak or Drake May. So you see here, I got them close in my ranking. A Dak at 3, May at 7. Both teams have a potential game script where they could run the ball and things could go well and they might not need to pass as much. All that said, Dallas's defense is so bad, it kind of forces shootouts where the probability of New England being in a low-scoring game is higher than the Dallas game being in. So that's why I give Dak a little bit of the edge there, and he is just playing at an insanely high level. Juwan Johnson, Hunter Henry, or Tonjes. Henry's a little bit on and off, but he's a big part of that offense, and Tonjes has been doing great as well. But Juwan Jennings back, and I know he's a receiver versus a tight end, but I think that takes some targets away because they kind of had nobody else. Like they were down Pearsall and Jennings last week. So I think Hunter Henry is probably the most stable play of this group, floor and upside. Obviously, whoever scores a touchdown wins, but I think Henry is more likely to be the one to do that, so I would give him the edge. Juwan Johnson, pay attention this week. This week really determines if he belongs on fantasy rosters or not. I hope he bounces back. He's a really good player. Just the last couple of weeks have not been good. Start 3, Pickens, Debo, Krosky, Merritt, Odunze. Wow. I'll say this. Debo and Odunze are in for sure. They're both high floor, high ceiling. And then of the other two, I'll say this. Pickens hasn't really had a bad game since week 1, and that was a rain-impacted game. Krosky Merritt looked great, and the Bears are soft. So I would tend to say Krosky Merritt probably has a more reliable floor, even though Pickens has been great most weeks. I think Pickens has the potential for a big game against Carolina. If they throw, there's more ceiling. So, again, it'd be Debo and Odunze for sure. Krosky Merritt would be the safer floor play. But then it would be if you want to really shoot for upside, and it's not a bad floor, Pickens. If it's my lineup, I'm putting Pickens in. And I know Krosky Merritt was great, and he looks great, and he has a great matchup. Kyler Murray is officially inactive, so it will be Jacoby Brissett. I do like this for Trey McBride. I do think a lot of safe throws to him are going to be a big path. So maybe McBride is that first big game of the season. He had one that was kind of big, but he hasn't had a Trey McBride game yet. Jay, good morning. Appreciate that. Thank you. You need 2 flex in a PPR. Coleman, Io Manor, Warren, Miller, and Michael Carter. Again, Michael Carter seemed to have the best path to volume. He had 5 catches last week. He had rushes. Not efficient, bad running back, but volume's king in fantasy football. So I think there's that. Warren has a horrible matchup. Kendre Miller is interesting because we don't know how nicked up Kamara is, but that's part of the problem. Io Manor, just not enough ceiling. So I'll tell you this. I will say this. Carter for sure. Warren, because he probably catches 4 passes. He's probably the floor play of the remaining group. But I do think, and Quentin Johnson is expected as inactive. He's out. All right. And then for the other one, I do think Coleman is your boom bust play because of Atlanta and Buffalo getting, and it's a high over and under in the game. If that game gets high scoring, we saw him in week 1 when there was a shootout. He really was able to, take care of business there. So we could see that, but he's risky. Warren has a higher floor. So I would say that. All right, Foxborough News, 16-man half PPR. You got Jennings, Hollywood, Brown, and Tootin for a flex. Should I use Detroit? So you got – all right, so Jennings because he's healthy on the field. We expect him to resume his normal role, and I think he's the safest floor ceiling blend of those three players. Hollywood Brown was fine last week, but it seems like we never know what the game plan's quite going to be. So there's that. And Kyler out. Okay. Just checking the inactives that kind of are popping through here. And I need to look a little bit more. So I would go with Jennings here. Tootin's just not getting enough touches. And we know he's had a couple like red zone opportunities, but the workload has not been there. And then Detroit or San Francisco defense, Baker has 8 or 9 turnover worthy plays where he's gotten away with them. 49ers pass rush hasn't been great. Detroit against Kansas City, good luck with that. I just honestly, Kansas City's offense does look good right now. So I would just tend to go with San Francisco. Maybe Baker makes a sloppy play or two, and maybe Rashad White puts the ball on the carpet. So a slight edge to San Francisco's defense there. All right, let's see what we got here. Bam Knight or Travion Henderson, McBride or Kyle Pitts. Travion Henderson usually gets a few targets, and that gives him the edge to me overnight. McBride, you heard me say a minute ago, I think with Brissett in, I do think it's going to be one of those plays where you just kind of go with that. Oh, I missed how the Jets had a safety, huh? Okay. I was doing the questions here, something in the end zone. Wow, 11-10 Jets. Unbelievable. Not doing anything on offense, but they're winning the game. All right, so Trey Henderson gets a few more catches. And then McBride, I think you heard me say, I think McBride has an opportunity to have one of his first signature games. Pitch has been fine. But remember, McBride's floor has been fine too. So there's that. Chris, 1 point PPR, need a receiver and a flex. Zay Flowers, Romeo Dobbs, come on, even know. You know what? So Zay Flowers did have a good game with Cooper Rush last week. It was in the 7 for 70 range. I think that's enough to say we go with him and take a chance there. So I think we're fine there. And according to NFL Network, Vidal will have a role. Now, as to whatever that means, may not mean much, right? So I think that we have to consider that and say maybe not him. Romeo Dobbs, I know he's not repeating the 3 touchdowns, but Romeo Dobbs is a player that I think that, you have an opportunity against Cincinnati with terrible defense to continue rolling with him. Adonai Mitchell, healthy scratch. Yeah, they got to be beyond angry with him. Apparently, Gannon, the coach of Arizona, said that DeMarcado wasn't going to be punished for his thing. All right, Max, morning to you as well. You know what? I just noticed this. Trey Harris, I don't know that he has a role with Quentin Johnston out, but if you're in a super deep league and you need an emergency flex, maybe Trey Harris takes over in the Quentin Johnston role and gets some looks. Might be a long shot to take. Max, morning to you as well. Appreciate the support. I always know that you're taking the content in, and it means a lot to me. Justin Fields gets swarmed and sacked on a 3rd and 5. All right, Stafford or Daniels. So I have them as 2 and 9 at quarterback. The possibility exists. Baltimore can't stop the run. If the Rams get really going on the ground, and if Baltimore can't move it on offense, and this game gets ugly early, the Rams may not throw a lot. So I think there's more scenarios for Jaden Daniels to be fine here. And McMillan, Olave, DJ Moore, Jacoby Myers. They've all been floor plays this year, but McMillan has a matchup that finally gives him the potential to have a game. So because of that, I would definitely consider giving McMillan the shot here. You can make ceiling cases for any of these guys, but I think the easiest ceiling case to make is McMillan in a game that we hope shoots out. I might have a super chat here before I get to Michael. Let me see here. I do. I have a super chat here. Thomas, Mac Jones or Sam Darnold? So Mac Jones is my quarterback 11. Darnold's my quarterback 14. Jacksonville's a very, very good defense. They've been playing at a super high level. They're playing in Jacksonville, gives them a little bit of a boost here. Your other quarterback, Mac Jones, I have Jones a little bit higher. We know that it's probably going to be a lot of McCaffrey in the screen game. They're probably not going to be able to run on them, so they're going to have to throw. And Tampa often can force the issue on the scoreboard. I do worry that Mac Jones is going to see a ton of the Todd Bowles blitz schemes. And really, in his short career, Mac Jones struggles against the blitz. But Shanahan does scheme it up pretty well. I'm going to give Mac Jones the edge there because of that. But Darnold's been playing great. I think this is is a tougher matchup than we might realize. And I know Mahomes looked great, but Mahomes is playing well. So was able to move the ball on Jacksonville, but Jacksonville is a really good defense. All right, let's see what we got for the next question here. And we're on Michael. All right, next here. Sit one, Metcalf, Diggs, McConkey, or Brian Thomas Jr. Metcalf seems to get it done every week, whether it's a touchdown, whether it's yardage. And we know Greg Newsome got traded. Not really. I mean, and I know that they pick up Tyson Campbell, but realistically, it's not the same player. And I think Metcalf finds a way to get it done because all the man coverage he's going to see, it really lends to a big play. Diggs, I think right now you can't sit him off the two big games he had. And I outlined earlier that McConkey, I really think the way that the Chargers have to approach this game is a whole lot of quick passing game to Keenan Allen and Lad McConkey. So I would sit Brian Thomas Jr., and I know that feels dangerous, but Brian Thomas Jr. has played 5 games and he doesn't have you a 13-point PPR game. So we're past the point of being a name. At some point, will he score a 30-point game? Maybe he could, but at this point, he kind of is who he is, right? Vinny, good morning to you. Appreciate it, man. Need to Olave, Worthy, Ridley, and Stevenson. Worthy is likely in a shootout here, and Detroit is all kinds of banged up in their secondary. So I think we got to go with Worthy there. Ridley had the game last week. That was in the fourth quarter. It really came up when that game got a little nuts. And so I think Olave has the safer floor, though. Olave's getting you 5-6 catches, 50-ish yards. And Ridley had that game last week, but he really didn't have a game before that. So I just think you take the floor of Olave and hope that works out. Ridley's your boom bust because if he does get a long play or if he does get a touchdown, it kind of moves him ahead. But I think it's riskier. Stevenson, I'm just worried that a fumble puts him in beyond the doghouse because he fumbled again. So it's a problem. It's a real problem for him. All right. All right. Next, we got Reynaldo. Good morning to you as well. Darnold or Mac Jones? Somebody had that same question, and I went with Mac Jones. Just explain it so you got that. Jennings or Bourne? So I know Bourne had the great game last week. Jennings is a critical part of that offense, and the fact he's out there, I do have to go with Jennings. I do think that he is a key point of the offense. Where I think Kendrick Bourne was in that nice situation, playing those small corners with the Rams, that really kind of helped his game quite a bit. Wow, it's really hard to see. Denver is really struggling here. They're down 11-10 with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Very weird team. Very hard to predict week to week. Thoughts on Michael Carter versus Bam Knight? Look, Michael Carter is their regular player. He's their guy. So he had 5 receptions last week. He 14 carries. Bam Knight's terrible. Michael Carter's terrible, but Michael Carter's versatile. Bam Knight's terrible. And I don't know if any new reports surface because his name keeps coming up, but the coaches already said that Emari Demercado would not be punished for last week's fumble at the goal line. And if that's the case, unless there's some news I missed, I don't see Bam Knight getting more than 3 touches. But I could be wrong on that. So, no, Carter, there's no reason they're going to bench Carter after that game. He was inefficient, but he did the job last week for them. Austin, Daniels or Jordan Love? So Jordan Love I have as my quarterback 8. Daniels is my quarterback 2. Here's the only problem. Jordan Love could go off. But they also could get a big lead early with Josh Jacobs and not have to throw the ball more than 18 times. And maybe Jordan Love on 18 times throws 3 touchdowns. But there's being that big of favorites in the offensive line. And a lot of them are questionable. They're not ruled out. But if that line's healthy, they might just road grade the ball all day and not really throw much. So I would give Daniels the edge here because Daniels has more paths to a floor and ceiling game. Melly Matrix, half PPR, Keenan Allen or Calvin Ridley. As you heard me say earlier, I really think that the Chargers game plan has to be get it out quick. And that means the 2 players, McConkey and Allen, getting high-level targets. And Ridley's just been too volatile this year, like 3 horrible floor games, whereas Keenan Allen, I know, has been down a little bit later, but we've seen he can definitely, cash. And I think they need him. Even half PPR. All right. And Keenan Allen's a big factor in the red zone for them too. That can't go understated. Whereas, you really don't see Ridley getting in the red zone very much with Tennessee. Sarah, thank you very much for the kind words. Full PPR flex, Jalen Warren or Jacoby Myers. I do tend to go at Myers off of two bad games here. This matchup is very easy. I think that um, Geno Smith, look, he's very erratic. It's really hard to see him having 3 bad games in a row, and especially playing in this one against either at home, I think that helps, and Tennessee is just not a good defense. I know Jeff Simmons been doing a great job rushing the passer, it's been great, but, Jaylen Warren is a monstrous matchup. Cleveland really has been lights out against the run, and I also wonder if possibly maybe we've seen Kenny Gainwell with that massive game earn a little bit more work, which would hurt. Ronaldo, Miller, or Charbonnet. Well, the workload's getting close, right? Miller's been really close the last couple of weeks, and it's certainly possible that Alvin Kamara has a problem and doesn't make it through the game, right? Because that ankle is apparently an issue. They cleared him, but he doesn't seem to be near 100% for sure. So Kendre Miller, what do I have? I got like a running back 32, but it's hard to say, and a 25 Charbonnet. Jacksonville is very good against outside run. Against the inside, they're not quite as good. So I do think that, Charbonnet has a good opportunity. Charbonnet is more likely to score a touchdown, and he's been pretty reliable with that. It's a coin flip. They're in that range. They're both flex options for me, but I would give Charbonnet the edge because he does have a very established role. But if your gut says Miller, and if somehow Kamara struggles with his health and can't finish, then I think it's a problem for him. All right, let's see here. Oh, I might have another super chat before I get to Grateful One and 1003. I do have another super chat. Fam first, Ridley, Bourne, or Jennings? I am going to give Jennings a slight edge. I know Ridley had the great game last week. You heard me talk about that a couple of times in the last few minutes. It's just the floor has been way too low. Bourne, again, it was great last week in those small Rams corners, but I think Jennings is a focal point for Kyle Shanahan in that offense. And so I do think Jennings is the way we go here. And it's tough to sit a guy off a 10 for 142 for sure. I totally get that. But Jennings, not like Jennings was like playing badly before the injury. So there's that. All right, let's see where we're at here. All right, let's see. Somebody just said start Bam night. Let me just. Oh, Anthony Richardson was injured in warmups. Well, isn't that rich? Injured during warmups. The guy with the injury is. I'm going to check the inactives real quick here, but actually, we'll have James Koh coming out. I think we'll maybe save the inactives till James comes in. Let me just get more questions here, and then we'll go from there. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, Joshua. Kamara or Haskins. Even if Kamara is limited, I on principle, you got to go with Kamara. Kamara's been playing well enough. Nothing really scary about the New England matchup. I know there's potential for injury, but Haskins, like I said, if Haskins comes in to get 5 carries for no yards, is it possible they just say, let's give Vidal a shot if he's the hot hand, roll with him? Whereas Kamara, if he's healthy enough to be active, we have to assume he's going to finish the game. And he's getting enough done to have a floor. Whereas we don't know that Haskins could do much of anything, even in an easy matchup. And so I just think it's really tough putting him in over a player like Kamara. All right, let's see where we're at on questions. All right. Next one PPR. Need Warren, Haskins, or Knight. Warren has a terrible matchup, but he is likely to catch you about 4 passes here. So that's definitely in play. Bam Knight, again, I have zero confidence. Oh, it was an eye injury for Anthony Richardson. I hope he's okay. So I have no confidence in Knight. And like I said, unless you guys are reading a report out there that said Bam Knight's going to like take over the job, which I didn't see anything like that. Maybe something surfaced while I was on the air here. But like I said, DeMarcado is not supposed to be punished for last week's fumble. So unless, again, if you guys all read something out there and I missed it, then I apologize for that. But the only thing is I ate breakfast this morning between the XM show and this. And if it popped then, I was eating, so I didn't see that. But I'm going to go Jalen Warren there. I'm going to go Jalen Warren because he does catch enough passes here. And we'll see if he can get over the top with that. Next one, Tier, Pittman or Olave, non-PPR. I think we go with Pittman there. Olave, it's been the catches that have been his value, but you're a non-PPR where Pittman has a similar floor to Olave, more likely to score a touchdown, more likely to hit 70 yards, whereas Olave's mostly been like, a 40 to 50 yard guy. So I think Pittman got to be your play there. Nothing problematic with the matchup there. James Koh is in the house. James Koh, happy week 6, my friend.
Oh man, can you believe, Jim, that after this week we'll be 1/3 of the way through the NFL season? Where does it go? Where does it go?
Too fast, way too fast. And we love football so much. And as fast as it gets here, it's gone. So we are going to enjoy the heck out of this while we can. And I love the shirt. You got a little Stone Cold going on there, huh? And I love
Yeah,
his
let's
hairstyle.
go.
It's like the best hairstyle in the world. Oh, wait a minute. Same one I
There you
have.
go, Jim.
Oh
There it
my
is.
gosh, I'm a terrible human
Hell
being.
yeah.
James Cole, let's go over some inactives before we get rolling here.
Yeah.
No surprise to me, Adonai Mitchell, inactive, healthy scratch. They wait 2 weeks after the fumble to finally
That's
do that.
crazy.
But no other big moves. Slot corner Kenny Moore is out, so just an FYI on that as well. Let's see, Jaguars, nothing special on their injury report. Nothing for Jalen Wright. We knew that. Anthony Richardson, eye injury, but he's a third quarterback. Quentin Johnson's not playing. What are you, is there, if somebody's in a super, super deep league, is there any chance to consider pulling Trey Harris off the waiver wire in the hopes that he gets into a role for a few catches?
It's a great idea. I just think that actually, if anything, I think it might be Aronde Gadsden who might end up seeing a few more targets here. He's been playing a lot more for the Chargers. And Gadsden with Keenan Allen and Ladd. I mean, golly, Jim, if Ladd McConkey does not break out in this game, I thought he was going to, I mean, early on last week in week 5, he catches that touchdown. We're thinking, oh, here we go. Ladd's rolling. Let's go. And then he fizzles out. Let's see if he can really build on that last week and kind of put up a big number here in week 6.
James, I've been on the air with stuff all morning, and I'm getting these Bam Knight questions. Is there a piece of news that broke that said he's starting or something like that? I got like a bunch of questions on him, and the last I heard was DeMarcado is not being punished for last week. Carter was inefficient but fine as well. Have you heard anything about Bam Knight that makes you think that all these questions I'm getting on him are something legitimate?
So I haven't seen the Schefter tweet, but okay, so yeah, Adam Schefter is tweeting out that Bam is getting the start over Michael Carter today.
Oh my
God. That's where that's coming from.
So are we expecting 5 carries for 9 yards, something like that? He's terrible. He's terrible.
I mean, he's not. I just don't understand. I mean, Bam is good in the short yardage area. I think he got some opportunities when he was with the Jets, and I thought he was okay, But I thought Michael Carter actually played really well last week, right? So I'm a little bit confused by this. Unless Michael Carter is dealing with an injury that we're not 100% sure of. I wasn't keeping a total eye on this Cardinals injury report. I'll pull this up right now. Cardinals injury report.
While James is looking for that, what I'll say is this. If he's starting, he's a nominal starter. It's going to be a committee. DeMarcado is not supposed to be punished. So I would say if you have Bam Knight, you're going to probably get between 5 and 7 points. That's probably what you're getting. If he falls in the end zone, I can never predict that one. But probably 5 to 7 points what we're probably looking at. So based on your line, the people asked me earlier, based on that, if 5 to 7 points does it for you, start him. I just don't see him as a pass catcher. I don't think that's going to be in the realm. I think Jacoby Brissett is much more likely to check down to Trey McBride than he is to check down to Bam Knight. So that's my expectation. What expectation do you have for Bam Knight?
I don't got much, mostly because I think it will be a true 3-man rotation there in Arizona. The Gannon decision on DeMarcado is going to be really interesting, right? Like he was definitely stepped out of his lane. I know there's like a lot of hardcore football heads out there like, oh, the coach didn't do anything wrong, and Amari DeMarcado was in the wrong there. I get it. Like I get both sides of it, but at the end of the day, it's like these are grown men, you can't really put your hands on grown men on the sideline like this, No. I think most players have come out and said, yeah, that's unacceptable behavior. So I'm going to go with the players on this one, man. So that being said, I wonder if Gannon actually tries to offer a mea culpa in the form of playing time. Honestly,
that's what I thought.
He's just, he's just kind of like, hey, listen, let's play this politically and get DeMarcado out there. I'm sure in his soul, in his heart of hearts, he wants nothing to do with Amari DeMarcado.
Right.
But at the end of the day, he was in the wrong by laying his hands on him on the sideline. So I thought
the same thing, James. I think that's a wonderful insight because if you make it punitive twice, it reflects on Gannon, and he has to keep a job. So yeah, I agree with you. So again, start Bam Knight at your own risk. If you are in purgatory with running backs and you have nobody, then go ahead and do it. Kelvin Austin's out. He hasn't done anything since week one. Does Roman Wilson get a potential for a couple of targets?
It's so hard to read what Arthur Smith is going to do in a low volume passing attack with a 40-year-old quarterback, man. It's just, it's got to be the trickiest, offense to kind of navigate. We don't know what's going on with the running backs. We don't know what's going on with the wide receivers, the tight ends. They got too many of them. It's just, I hate this Steelers offense, man, especially for fantasy. I get these fantasy questions. I don't know what the hell to do. Arthur Smith's running the show.
Right? Oh, my gosh.
One of the most unpredictable offensive coordinators we've ever seen in this business, man.
Couple quick ones. With Kyler Murray out and Jacoby Brissett in, what expectation do you have for both Trey McBride, who has had a down season per his standards, and for Marvin Harrison?
I like them both, to be honest with you. I mean, it can't get worse than what Kyler Murray's doing right now on the football field, to be honest with you. So I just wonder if there's a huge disconnect between quarterback and offensive coordinator in terms of what the quarterback likes to get done and what the offensive coordinator likes to get done. I mean, shoot, we're seeing no in-breaking routes right now with Arizona. Everything's this old school 90s style, like, let's just chuck it deep or underneath, right? Like, I'm sorry, but that's just not the modern NFL, It's like, I get it. Kyler Murray's got some arm talent, and he's got some legs. He can scoot. I mean, but I don't see him operating in a functional offense right now. So maybe it's the OC, maybe it's the quarterback, but to me, I think it tends to be the quarterback. When I'm watching Kyler play, I don't see a guy who's comfortable back there. So Jacoby Brissett, he's going to let it rip, man. So I am actually a little bit more excited about MHJ. In today's ball game, I'm a little bit more excited about Trey McBride.
Yep.
I don't think we're going to see a drop-off in terms of overall offensive efficiency or output. I think it'll be either the same or better with Jacoby Brissett, and that's sad, comparing, an aging Jacoby Brissett versus a Kyler Murray.
When you frame it that way, it is entirely sad. I think the only thing you're missing is the rushing yardage for Kyler for fantasy, which is why I rank Jacoby Brissett lower. That's the only reason. But in terms of the passing game, no difference. Sad to say. Last one. Jatavian Sanders inactive again with the ankle. Is Tommy Tremble a deep league? They're playing Dallas. Is he a deep sleeper option or no?
Yeah, no, for me, he definitely is. Again, it's because of the matchup. I mean, Dallas has been terrible. They've been terrible at every position. They're a little bit, and it's much more of a pass funnel too, right? Like, they're bad against the run. They're not terrible against the run, but they are absolutely terrible against the pass, right? So it's become a little bit of a pass funnel. Weird statistical note here, but every single quarterback that they have faced has scored at least 24 fantasy points. Every single one. That's amazing. That's amazing.
That is crazy.
So yeah, Bryce Young is certainly in the sleeper mix there. But again, if we think that Bryce Young's going to have a nice day, it's like, again, there's going to be a trickle-down effect. I think Tommy Tremble could get into the end zone. Let's see, again, if Tet McMillan finally gets on the board. I don't know. I really like Carolina's offense in this one.
2 super chat. This one moved back to the bottom as an earlier time, but I'm going to ask this to move to the bottom of the screen. Pick 2 between Pittman, half PPR, Tet McMillan, and Chris Olave.
I think for me, I really like the Pittman and McMillan combination right there. I think you're getting a really good floor ceiling mix. I am very high on Tet this week. I think Tet goes, I think he finally breaks through. All the metrics are there for him. The volume, the air yards, it's all there. And he's got a great matchup this week against Dallas. So I think McMillan's got to be in your lineup no matter what. Olave certainly has seen the air yards and target volume. Just hasn't necessarily turned it into a lot of production. This might be the week he finally breaks through, but I really like Pittman too. Hey, Indianapolis is down a bunch of corners right now, and I do wonder if that game ends up being a little bit more of a shootout than we're expecting. And if that's the case, man, like, give me Pittman in that role where they're going to be kind of trying to toss that ball around a little bit.
Real quick side note, there's 13 minutes in the fourth quarter, Jets-Denver. The teams combined at 57 yards in the second half. Ugly, ugly football. One more super chat question here from John Moorhead. Golden, Trey Henderson, Flowers, or Judy, half PPR?
Well, I don't think it's Judy. Judy has been bad. He's played on the outside. He's been like an outside X receiver for Cleveland for some reason. They've not moved him into the slot at all. They haven't really even played him a lot at flanker, which is weird. They don't have him in motion a lot right now. I don't get what the Judy usage there is in Cleveland. I don't like it. As a static X receiver, he's not good at all. So I'm not really trusting that. Golden's in a great spot. I think against Cincinnati. I got Romeo Dobbs listed as one of my favorite sleepers, but again, it could absolutely be Matthew Golden as well. Travion Henderson,
Meh.
I don't know, man. It's like every week we feel like, all right, it's coming. That Travion Henderson breakthrough's coming. And Ramondre Stevenson is just right there. You know?
And James, real quick, they
get it.
talked about giving Terrell Jennings real work this week. So they are just into this 3-man deal.
Yeah. No, you're right. And again, yeah, because as you mentioned, you know, Antonio Gibson on IR. All right, what are we doing out here? I don't know. So I want to trust Henderson. To me, I feel like if we're trying to flex one guy in PPR, I'm going to go with Golden. I think I'm going to just chase that upside a little bit. Flowers is banged up too. The injury scares me a little bit. We got that backup quarterback in there. I don't know. I don't like Flowers very much at all. It's either Golden or Henderson for me, and I think I'll lean on Golden.
All right, let me find where I'm at on the question-wise here. Let's see. Got to find where I'm at time-wise. I look like a 10:06, 10:08. All right, here we go. I think I found one right here. This is where we should be. Thomas, King Henry. I was so 10:08 on that time. King Henry, T. Higgins, or DeAndre Swift in the flex. Full PPR. We are at the point where we are asking legitimate questions about Derrick Henry, James.
Yeah, no, I know. I think I still stick with Henry, though. I think they'll be smarter about utilizing him. Harbaugh's too smart. I just can't imagine Derrick Henry having this side role that he has. Even if they get behind, look for Henry to still stay involved here. He's just too good. Harbaugh's too smart. I just can't see him being de-emphasized the way he was.
No doubt. No. So let's go to the next one here. Jimmy asks, which two to start half PPR? Haskins, Keenan Allen, Pittman, and Kenneth Walker.
Wow. Okay, so I'm starting Pittman for sure. Well, no, excuse me. I'm starting Walker for sure. Oh my gosh. It's definitely not Haskins for me. It's either Keenan or Pittman. I don't know what that backfield.
Herbert's going to have to get it out quick because Miami will blitz. They're down to a third string right tackle, second string left tackle, and there's no Quentin Johnston. So it's almost like, to me, McConkey and Allen are both getting 10+ targets this one, right?
I agree. I totally agree with you. I don't see, again, I'm not 100% sure how that doesn't happen, right? So give me Keenan in this one. I like the floor. You know, he's got a great quarterback going there too. Good.
Yeah, great quote here. Very bad coaching by the Jets in the first half and every game. And we can continue that forward. Pedro asks, help with the flex. Would you start Travion Henderson over Stevenson?
Ooh,
full PPR.
This is interesting. You know what? I would, as a matter of fact. I think I would. I want to, at some point, the offense, I think, will shift to like a 50-50. You know, I know they're talking about the third guy, but I wonder if it ends up being a 50-50 this week or very, very close to a 50-50. Travion Henderson doesn't need that many opportunities to break one. Jim, I've come all over this channel and talked about how I thought Travion Henderson was one of the most overhyped rookies, overpriced rookies. Because again, I thought Stevenson was pretty good last year, to be honest with you, the fumbling issues aside. Now, if the coaching staff is telling you we're not going to punish a guy because of the fumbles, it becomes difficult to justify saying Travion Henderson, it needs to get on the football field if we're just talking about outside of the fumbling issues, So,
but remember, he said for now, it was like the comment was, yeah, he wasn't going to punish, but it wasn't like a blanket going forward. It was like, he would deal with it later, and that's coming because he's fumbled since. So I think that's the risk with Stevenson. If he does put the ball on the carpet, and that's happening like frequently.
I know
there's a game they're going to say we're done with you.
Yeah.
So
I agree. And at this point, I wonder if it's in Stevenson's head. I mean, it has to be.
Yeah,
it has to
be. Right. He needs Tom Coughlin. He taught Tiki Barber how not to fumble. It worked. This one now becomes easy because if Michael Carter's not starting, it'll be DeAndre Swift over Michael Carter. No question there, right, James?
Right. 100%.
All right, Nancy wants to know, Tucker Kraft or Darren Waller? Tucker Kraft has as good of a matchup as you could get against Cincinnati. We see him get schemed open, but Darren Waller has been heavily involved. Might see some Derwin James, but Darren Waller plays a slot a lot, which means that may not happen. What are your thoughts there?
Look, I love Darren Waller, but I just can't justify starting him over Tucker Kraft. Kraft is too good. He's too much of an important piece in this offense. When we start talking about routes run and target share and all that kind of stuff, Tucker Kraft is like near the top of the list. You know, he's got a great matchup this week against Cincinnati too. Go ahead and give me Tucker Kraft. Look, I like both. But I'm going to give the edge to Tucker Kraft in this one.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And then Disco Dave wants to know TD heavy, DJ Moore or Chris Olave. Roster 4 running backs. All right, so let's do that first. DJ Moore or Chris Olave in the TD heavy scoring.
I'm gonna go to Olave on this one. I'm gonna try to trust the volume metrics and think that Olave may try to crack into that end zone. Well, he'll have more opportunities, I think, than DJ Moore, who I think they have de-emphasized quite a bit, especially in that red zone area.
All right, and then the second part, this is like, it sounds like a stash question, or maybe it's a lineup question. Maybe it's a lineup question for today. These are the backup running backs. So which one at TD heavy? Blue, Tootin, Gordon, or Monangai?
I think Tootin for me, right?
Yeah,
like the runway is clear where if ETN goes down with some kind of injury, Tootin I think will have a really good runway playing in the offense. It's so weird, Jim, because fantasy has tilted what we think of the Jacksonville offense. I think the offense is good overall, but for fantasy purposes, it's not good because Brian Thomas Jr. isn't doing jack squat. And so we're frustrated, right? Trevor Lawrence has been up and down in fantasy, but I would say overall, if you look at the health of the offense, I think overall they're playing well. So yeah, I actually like the offense there, and I think you want to pick running backs in good offenses.
So this next question we're not going to answer, but we're going to tell Essentia Wellness. Please ask us a specific question instead of favorite players and matchups. We like it's too broad of a question for a show, but we're always happy to answer any specific question you may have. We have a super chat coming up. Let me see if I can click that on here. Okay, and then maybe two of them actually. John wants to know. Wait, no, we answered the Gold and Henry one. We answered that already, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we answered that one. So we have one from Tyler. Any news on Juwan Jennings? Can't really read what that says. Juwan Jennings is cleared to play, and the expectations. So many players in the league are hurt. I just go under the assumption he's going to assume his role. Any player could have a setback. Do you see it any differently?
No, I think if Jennings is out there, I think we play him. Tampa Bay has been giving up some production there as well. I'm anticipating a little bit higher scoring game too. So let's see if Mac Jones. Hey, and listen, this all comes with the caveat that Mac Jones is going to play. That Mac Jones is going to play a full complement of snaps too. Now, again, that comes with some risk. If Mac Jones gets hurt in the middle of the game and they go to the third string quarterback. Listen, Juwan Jennings is going to get hurt. His production is going to get tagged a little bit here. So we're basing this off the assumption that Mac Jones is going to play a full complement again of snaps in that game. That I can't guarantee.
Now, Hollywood Brown or Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson still playing a high snap percentage. The number of snaps have gone down, but the play count has gone down the last couple of weeks. So that's really a misnomer. But the targets have gone down. Hollywood Brown, a little on and off, had a little more targets last week. Where do you stand on this one?
I really like Hollywood Brown just because, again, both starting corners are out for Detroit.
Yes.
It's really hard to ignore that. It's anticipated to be a really high-scoring game as well. It's the highest. I think it's tied for the highest-scoring game of the weekend here. So you could run across some extended touchdown exposure too. So I like Hollywood Brown. Let's hope that he kind of sneaks in there and gets a little bit of volume.
We'll do one more together, and then, James, I'll let you take over the lifting for this one. Woogie Boogie asks, is he a backup Bam Knight? Sorry, oh, that's not really a question. And here's a good one, though. This is a good one. I'll get out of here. Bam Knight or Kimani Vidal?
I am going to go with, very tentatively, I'm going to say Kimani Vidal. I think he is going to have some pass catching work, and I think he will see at least 40% of the offensive snaps. I can't guarantee that Bam Knight is going to see 40%. Again, he might be the nominal starter. I thought Michael Carter actually played pretty darn well, like I said.
Agreed.
So I don't know. I'd be surprised. I mean, I didn't see anything on the injury report in regards to Michael Carter. So I'll just say Vidal very tentatively. But again, really hard to read that Arizona backfield too.
James Koh, appreciate you greatly. Have a great rest of the show, and good luck to you in week 6.
Let's go, man.
All right,
Jim,
bye,
the
everybody.
best. Jim Coventry is the absolute best, man. All right. We'll get to as many of these questions as possible here. We appreciate y'all, man. If you fire some questions into the chat, let me see if I can't rip through some of these. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's go. I think this is where we left off. Not 100% sure. Okay. Let's go here. Ethan Batterman. Cards say Bam Knight starting. Do we go with him, Carter, or avoid and go with Isaiah Bond? Again, I'm not really trusting the Cleveland offense right now. Isaiah Bond is an interesting player. He's playing a lot out of the slot right there. What does this offense look like with a full game of Dylan Gabriel? I don't know. Again, I'm probably not trusting it too much, and we'll see. He's a rookie too. So I'm probably going to say, I will say Bam Knight in the most it's very tepid. Like I'll say Bam Knight with 51% confidence. But I don't have a great read on that Arizona backfield. And I don't think anyone who says they do, I think is lying to you, man. So let's just go with that. But I'll because he's the starter, I will go with Bam Knight over Isaiah Bond. Disco Dave, non-PPR, Juwan Johnson or Isaiah Likely. I mean, Juwan Johnson, I know Isaiah Likely is a very interesting player. Maybe he gets into the end zone and I look like an idiot here, but Mark Andrews still in there. The offense is being operated through Cooper Rush. Not really trusting that too often. Juwan Johnson, very highly utilized in this offense too. So yeah, for me, very easily Juwan Johnson. A shootout in Carolina, doubtful in that weather. You know what's funny, man? Weather is a weird one. Weather is a very weird one. So sometimes it gets a little wonky. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Where is that NFL weather? I want to see what the latest reports are here. When we're talking about, okay, so I don't really see too much. I don't see too many issues here, to be honest with you. When we're talking about weather, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Everything looks fine to me from a weather perspective. There's a slight, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe you've got better weather reports than me, but I don't know. Everything that I'm seeing looks okay. TD heavy scoring Coleman. Coleman? Am I tripping? Who the hell are we talking about? DJ Moore, Dubs, or Thornton? Either way, who are we talking about with Coleman? Dog, it must be too early for me on the West Coast because I don't know who the hell you're talking about. I like Dubs, though, against Cincinnati. He's the trusted, pass catcher there for Jordan Love. His by the way, his 4 touchdowns, it's more than the rest of the wide receivers combined. So, yeah, he's got 4 touchdowns through, whatever it is, 4 games, right? Go ahead and give me Dubs if we're talking about touchdown heavy scoring there. Full PPR, Golden, Matthew Golden, or Kendrick Bourne. Again, where do we sit with Mac Jones, guys? This question to me really depends on how comfortable we are with Mac Jones playing the entire game. I am going to say Bourne, but because, again, I think the hype has outweighed the production for Matthew Golden right now. And it's not to say that will always be the case, but I think where we're at right now, I think Golden is more projection than he is, production. So give me Kendrick Bourne in that one. Bam Knight or Charbonnet. So this one again, another really, really tough question from Reynaldo Rincon. Bam Knight or Charbonnet. I am going to lean a Bam Knight here. I think Charbonnet has not looked very good at all, especially in this run scheme. Now, they keep dropping him in there into goal-to-goal situations, which is really what's been saving him. But if he doesn't drop into the end zone, what kind of production are we looking at with Zach Charbonnet? So, yeah, I'll take Bam Knight right there over Chardonnay. I think we're Chardonnay. I think he's got a better floor than Charbs, okay? Bam Knight, RB1 over Carter. Yeah. We got that. All right. Okay, so Chris Williams, Dubs or Zay, 1 point PPR. I'm going Dubs here. Listen, Zay is dealing with an injury. He's got a backup quarterback. Give me Dubs against Cincinnati. I'm not stressing about it. KJ Frederick, Vidal or Hendo? This one gets, again, how are you reading this Chargers backfield? I am going to very tentatively say Henderson. I do think that even though they're talking up this third running back, I do think that it will be at least a 40% snap share for Travion Henderson. And I'll take that. I'll take that play time over Vidal, who, again, I am not 100% sure what that is going to end up looking like. And New England is taking on a New Orleans Saints defense that I don't think is very good against the run, right? They're bottom 10. They're bottom 8 in terms of fantasy points allowed to that position group. You take a look at what they're doing here in terms of production overall, and they're bottom 12 in rush yards allowed per game. So, there are some metrics here that would indicate they're also bottom 10 in terms of receptions allowed to the running back position, which I think also bodes well for Travion Henderson. Okay, Chris Williams, Bam Knight or Chase Brown, 1 point PPR. Oh, Chase Brown. He's the starter. Clear cut, clear as day. I don't know what Joe Flacco is going to do, but Flacco has been known to check down to running backs a little bit here. Give me Chase Brown by a million miles over Bam Knight. Lee Ving. Is Bam Knight a thing? I don't think he's a thing. I don't think he's been very good. So I think he's been okay. I think he had a couple of splash games there with the Jets, right? But overall, I think he struggled to stay on NFL rosters. By the way, that was a long time ago. That was probably, 3 years ago? I want to say that was 3 years, maybe 4 years ago, man. So, no, I don't think that Bam Knight is a thing there in Arizona. John Moorhead, Golden. I think we got this one. Yeah, we did. Leaving. Knight starts, DeMercado third back. Yeah. The backfield there in Arizona, very, very murky right now. Just keeping one eye on this Jets-Denver atrocity. 4 minutes to go. It's 13-11. Okay. Great. I hope y'all didn't start any Broncos or Jets. Good God. So ugly. Okay, Dino Fontaine, Shepard, Horton, or Judy. PPR. Okay, so Chris Godwin's out. Mike Evans is out. Opens the door for Shepard to be a thing. Horton's production has been, you just can't predict it. I think he's a good player, but really hard to trust his production overall. Give me Shepard in this one. I don't love it. Again, I say this with no confidence, but I'm going to lean Shepard there just because Horton has been too inconsistent. I love him as a player, but again, too inconsistent. Where does he rank in terms of this offense? It's like him and AJ Barner. They're the number 2 option behind, JSN. So you've also got a coach that wants to run the football too. I'll take Shepard here because I'm going to trust Baker in what I anticipate to be a higher scoring game. So yeah, give me Shepard right there. Ernie, Torres, Wershing. What a name. What a name. Shakir or Kendrick Bourne. Shakir really hasn't been a thing all year. I guess if I'm going to chase it a little bit, can I chase it here with Kendrick Bourne? I mean, certainly Shakir doesn't give you any safer floor than Kendrick Bourne. His floor has been terrible. So give me Kendrick Bourne because I think the floor for both is really bad, but we know there's at least an upside play here with Kendrick Bourne as well. Okay, this is from Matt. Dubs or Pittman Jr.? I am going to trust Pittman, but I think Dubs has higher upside, and in particular, I think he has a better chance to get into the end zone against Cincinnati. But if we're talking about just straight floor, go ahead and give me Michael Pittman. Again, that Indianapolis game against Arizona, I'm going to look up the point total here real quick, mostly because I anticipate that game to be a little bit higher scoring too. Let's see. It's over the 46.5 is the over under right now with Indianapolis a 7.5 point favorite. Funny thing is, I'm curious. I'm very curious to see with what Brissett brings to the table for Arizona, especially considering Indianapolis is down a couple of corners. I think they're going to try to bomb this one here a little bit. If he can connect on a couple of these bombs, completely changes the complexion of the game. So in that way, it's really hard to predict. But that being said, let's go. Let's go. Let's chase a little upside here. Very volatile game. There's no question. Very volatile. But overall, let me go ahead and chase a little upside in this Indianapolis-Arizona game. This is from CMN. Thoughts on Monangai over Hubbard rest of season? Listen, when Hubbard comes back, am I tripping on something, man? Like, is there a thought that Monangai is going to take over this backfield? Because I don't think there's really been any indication of that. And again, I could be wrong. I'm not totally tapped into the Bears. And again, Monangai, I think, has been okay. I don't think Monangai has been so incredible that he needs to get on the football field. Maybe y'all disagree. But I think he's been okay. And Hubbard, when he comes back, is at worst a 50-50 back. At best, I think he's a 65-35 guy. Again, we'll see what happens here there in that Carolina backfield today. But I think when Chuba comes back, I would imagine he's going to be the starter. It's really hard to lose your job, right? It's really hard to lose your job due to injury. I don't think Dave Canales is that kind of coach. We'll find out. But again, I would say Hubbard rest of the season over Monangai, unless CMN, you've got inside information that I don't know about with Monangai in that Chicago backfield. But again, unless Swift gets hurt, go ahead and give me Hubbard. Kathleen Gallione. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it sounds like a cool name, though. Bam Knight's supposed to be the starter. DeMarcado also supposed to be involved. Half-point PPR, pick one. Stevenson, Henderson, or Carter. First of all, I love this question. Mostly because you give me a little context of what you're thinking, right? I like the thought process involved in the question, too. This is how you ask a question, y'all. This is good. Steven Henderson or Carter. I will... I'm going to say Ramondre. Look, every single week we keep wanting it to be Henderson. It's not Henderson. I'm going to say Ramondre in this one. And if Carter is the backup, you know what I'm saying? If he's the backup here, I don't know. It's really hard to trust a three-headed backfield in Arizona. So go ahead and give me Ramondre. And again, I don't say that with utmost confidence, but I think New Orleans has, given up production on the ground there. So I will say Stevenson very tepidly. Dallas Lamb, Dubs versus Bengals, Olave versus New England. Perfect question format, player, matchup. I don't have to think. I'm going Dubs here. And again, hold on. Let me just say this. Olave for floor. He's got a really good PPR floor. Dubs for upside because I think he's got a better chance at jumping into the end zone. Okay. So I would say I'm leaning Dubs right here. But again, I think Olave has a much safer floor in PPR formats. Okay. So let me go that way. Austin Slaughter, rain for the Washington game. It says there's a chance of rain, 17% chance of rain in this Washington game, 12 mile per hour winds at the time of the game. So do with that as you will. It doesn't sound like it's going to be a downpour. I don't know. Again, this is just what I'm seeing here, man. Like, weather reports vary, so I'm not sure. Brady Harrell, Mayor Herbert, Dowdle or Henry. Well, this one's tough. I do think I want to trust Henry here. And look, I know Dowdle went absolutely ham sandwich. He went crazy, but that was in a revenge game set up against Dallas, right? I'm going to trust Henry here. I think he gets back on track, guys. I do. So give me Henry. Drake May or Herbert. Oh, it's Herbert. Look, Drake May's good, but I think right now people are more excited about the thought of Drake May than the actual production of Drake May, if that makes any sense. And also, by the way, he plays for a head coach in New England that I think would like to run the ball. So if they do build a nice lead against New Orleans, watch for them to kind of sort of pound it out on the ground. Meanwhile, again, the Chargers they're going to throw this football. And dude, Miami's defense is awful. They're terrible. Absolutely, they stink. So go ahead and give me Herbert here. I think he'll be fine. Look, I know the tackle situation definitely concerns me. They might start blitzing up a storm, but hey, listen, even if they do, you just got to get beat on one of those blitzes, man. If you get beat over the top on one of these blitzes, shoot, let's go. And by the way, let's hope it's Ladd McConkey. Maverick Waterman, Geno or Brissett? I'm not trusting Geno. Is he going to even here's the problem with Geno. If he throws another couple of picks, does he actually finish that game? He is so very much on the hot seat right now. That's what makes me a little bit worried, to be honest with you. I think Brissett is in an interesting spot against the Colts, who are down a couple of corners here. Their starting secondary has been not very good. I mean, dude, their starting secondary is so bad they had one guy retire. He was playing so bad he had to retire, bro. Like, that's how bad the Colts secondary has been. No, it's obviously a little bit of an over-exaggeration. I think they've been bad, but they haven't been the worst secondary in the NFL, okay? You know what? Let's get spicy. Give me Brissett. Let's get spicy just a little bit. I'll go Brissett right here. Again, I don't love Geno. I think Geno's kind of sort of getting in his own way. Tennessee defensively is not great either, but shoot, man, I don't know. I'll still take Brissett. Okay, Shades. First of all, great screen name, Shades. I love it. Half PPR flex, Jennings or Kenneth Walker. Dude, guys, come on, man. We're going Kenneth Walker. I know he's not getting a ton of red zone opportunities, but I just want to say Kenneth Walker has been legitimately playing well. It has not shown in the box score, but I'm telling you, he's playing good football. At some point, that will reflect in the box score. I think Kenneth Walker by a lot for me over Jennings, who, again, also is dealing with injuries. And Mac Jones, his starting quarterback, also dealing with injuries there. So I'm a little bit worried on two fronts in regards to Jennings. I think he's still a start. But if you're asking me Jennings or Kenneth Walker, come on, dog. I'm going Walker every time. All right, Jim Coop, what's up, man? Good to see you this morning. Need two wide receivers in a PPR situation. How about this? Colts cornerback Charvarius Ward suffered a concussion and is inactive now versus the Cardinals. Wow. Oh, my gosh. Okay, that's interesting. So, yeah, all right, there you go. A little bit more potential there for Marvin Harrison Jr., a little bit more potential for Jacoby Brissett as well. Golly. All right, it's 9:30 on my end, so we got 30 minutes here. I don't know how delayed y'all are on the stream here, but here we go. We got 30 minutes. Let's see if I can't get through some stuff here. Jim Coop, sorry, I got distracted, my guy. DJ Moore, Alec Pierce, or Juju? I am going to go. This one's tough. You know what? I'm going to go DJ Moore and Alec Pierce. Can I chase a little bit of this upside with Pierce? No Adonai Mitchell. And he has been utilized in this game on that offensive scheme quite a bit. So I'm going to go DJ Moore for sure. For sure, 100% for sure, DJ Moore. And then I'll go Alec Pierce right there too. Conquer them. Wow. Aggressive handle is conquer them. Trey Henderson or Dubs? Give me Dubs. Half PPR. Give me Dubs against Cincinnati, guys. I'll take it. Oh, we got a super chat. Let's go. What did I miss here? Did I miss two of them? I feel like I missed two of them. Did I miss this one? Tyler Sperry. I'm saying that because if so, Bourne is nothing. Oh. Any news on Juwan Jennings? And I'm saying that because if so, Bourne is nothing. If Jennings plays, let me just say this, Tyler. Even if Jennings plays, I completely disagree with you. I don't think that Bourne is nothing if Jennings plays. Who else are they going to throw to? Yeah, I mean, they're throwing the ball. I mean, with 100% certainty. Maybe I'm wrong. With nearly 100% certainty, they're going to throw this ball 28 to 35 times. Of those 28 target pass attempts, how many could possibly go to CMC and Juwan Jennings? 20? I don't know. I still feel like we're still getting, six. I think we're still getting 6 or 7 targets to Bourne, even if Jennings plays. So I'm there. So I disagree with you on that premise just a little bit. Okay, this is from CMN. PPR, Golden, Ridley, Higgins, Brian Thomas need upside. If you need upside, can I just say that I think Brian Thomas has been coming around just a little bit here. I am intrigued in this matchup against Seattle. Jacksonville's at home. That matters. Seattle is a tough defense overall. But I think if we're looking just for upside, give me Brian Thomas. Guys, Brian Thomas, they've changed his role just a little bit. He's not running as many in-breakers. They kind of sort of letting him go a little bit more vertical. That's what he likes to do. That's what he did great at LSU. That's what he did great last year, get vertical. And listen, it's a smart coaching staff there with Liam Cohen. They're trying to get him in positions to succeed. I think the chemistry between Brian Thomas Jr. and Trevor Lawrence has improved over the past couple of weeks. I like Brian Thomas Jr. I think he'll be fine. I do. And if you need a little bit of upside, if there's one guy that I'm trusting to get behind the defense here, it might be BTJ. If we're looking for a second play, T. Higgins, man. Again, Joe Flacco's going to bomb it. So I'll go Higgins right there. So, but again, give me Brian Thomas Jr. if we're chasing just pure upside. Okay. Let me get back to it here. Where are we here? I feel like I got something here. Okay, here we go. If I skipped your question, I apologize, but the chats are a little difficult to use sometimes. Mac Jones or Bryce Young? I like Mac Jones more. Bryce Young is in a situation, again, I'm going to repeat this stat for those folks who might have just jumped in. Dallas has given up at least 24 PPR points. I guess it doesn't matter for quarterbacks. They've given up 24 points to opposing quarterbacks every single game. I'm not saying Bryce Young's against 24. What I am saying is that Bryce Young's in a great spot. Okay, so I will say this. If you want a little bit of floor, give me Bryce Young. But Mac Jones has been playing extremely well. Bryce Young's been very up and down. I will take Mac Jones generally, but again, the injury does scare me. The injury scares me just a little bit. So I think it's going to be a higher scoring game too. I think that'll be a higher scoring game as well. So I will lean towards Mac Jones here, but again, I cannot stress this enough. If you definitely want some kind of floor, give me Bryce Young because, again, not worried about the injury, and he's got a beautiful matchup against Dallas. People give false news, then Bourne is nothing. Tyler Sperry. Okay, so Tyler is definitely on this Juwan Jennings thing for sure. Brady Harrell, Bourne or Judy? I'm gonna go Bourne. Again, I disagree with Tyler's assessment of it. I think that Bourne is going to have a role no matter what. Jennings is banged up. He's going to suit. It sounds like he's going to suit up a play, but he's still banged up. I like Kendrick Bourne in this ball game. Dallas Lamb, Olave at New England, or Dubs at Bengals? Great question format, by the way. I appreciate that. I've gotten this question a couple of times here. I am going to say Olave for floor, Dubs for upside. I think Dubs has got much better touchdown upside. He's got 4 already, right? So, again, if we want upside, let's go Dubs. But I think if you want a little bit of floor, especially in PPR, Olave really does give it to you, man. Oh, Michael Parla Greco, what is going on, my guy? Good to see you in the chats. JCM versus Chicago or BTJ versus Seattle. Thanks, my dude. Obviously, Parla Greco, a long time listener and viewer of my streams. Perfect format as well. I love it. JCM versus Chicago. Listen, Chicago is one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. I think JCM gives you good floor and good upside. Washington, listen, Washington, don't do this now. Cliff, don't do this. JCM's clearly the best back. Stop it. Okay, let's get him on the field. Give him at least 50% of the snaps. Again, anything over 50 I think is a bonus, but he deserves 50% of the snaps. Okay, Chicago's got one of the worst, arguably the worst run defense in the NFL. They're allowing more than 6 yards a carry. 6 yards a carry. Actually, I think it's 6.1. 6.1 yards per carry to opposing running backs. That's insane. So I will take JCM over BTJ. But again, let me say this. Cliff Kingsbury's a weird dude. If he puts JCM on the bench, that could be a problem. Now, again, the matchup's too good. I think JCM looked too good last week. I'm going JCM over BTJ. Keon Coleman for the Bills. Who are we talking about? Kendrick Bourne? I don't know. Are we still talking about Bourne? I don't know. Brady Harrell started Broncos defense, Jets kicker. Great start. Good for you, man. Good for you. For everyone else, it stinks. But for you, I'm happy, man. Kathleen. Another one. I like it, Kathleen Gallione. Please let me, by the way, Kathleen, let me know if I'm saying your last name correctly. You know, I think you've got a great last name, man. Please pick one. Again, I'm a jealous name dude because my last name is Koh and it's just so boring. James Koh, 2 syllables. What a boring name I have. Anyways, please pick one. Rashad White's a must start for sure. Judkins is a must start. Oh, I got to pick one though? Oh my gosh, you have a stacked lineup. If I am picking just one, you know what's funny? I am going to pick Marvin Harrison Jr. Screw it. Give me all the upside in the world. It sounds like you're in a shallower league, so you need to get a big number, right? Like you want to get some upside here. I'm sure your other players are great too. If this is who we're talking about, if I've got to pick one at your flex spot, give me Marvin Harrison Jr. If there's anyone in here who can get 2 touchdowns, it's MHJ. Against that Colts secondary right now that's extremely banged up. Oh, my goodness. What's up, man? Good to see you, pal. Coach Drew. Who are you starting a kicker? A kicker question? Dude, a kicker question. I love it. Excuse me. Pardon me, guys. Feeling a little bit under the weather, but we're trying to gut it out. Bates or Prater? I'm going to say Bates because he's in a higher score. He's supposed to be in a higher scoring game. I guess. I'm not a kicker guy, man. I'm not a kicker guy. I don't analyze a lot of the kicker stuff, but I think it's a higher scoring game. So give me Bates. All right, full PPR start, Olave or Metcalf? Give me Olave. I mean, Metcalf is so up and down, man. Like, I don't know. I'm going Olave here. Austin Slaughter, good to see you, pal. By the way, Austin Slaughter hits me up on my Instagram DMs, and I try to get back to him as much as possible there. Austin Slaughter, let the chat know. Come on, man. Like, I'm good about getting back to folks. So, again, if y'all follow me on Instagram, I do try to get to as many of those questions as possible on Instagram. If y'all want to follow me there, you can follow me on TikTok as well, Blue Sky, Twitter, whatever. But I try to do as good of a job as humanly possible because I got a lot of content to get out there of answering these questions. Okay, so if you guys follow me at James D. Koh, Koh, I will try my best to get to your questions. Austin, just let the chat know, man. I do a good job. Anyways, if you guys follow me there and shoot me DMs across the week, I'll try my best to get to your questions as well. Not always, but I try my best. Malik Washington, no. Sterling Shepard, maybe. Parker Washington, okay. Jim DK or Tim Horton, PPR with return yards. Okay, again, Austin Slaughter, I'm going to be full on with you. I do zero analysis on return yards. I have no idea who's a returner for what team. No clue. I don't have a damn idea. Once they get into punting formation, I look at a different game. So I have no clue who's returning punts. That being said, of this group, give me Sterling Shepard. If we're not talking, I don't know who does return yards at all, but again, I like Sterling Shepard. No No Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin in that one. Sterling Shepard has a little bit of rapport with Baker Mayfield. Hisham. Hisham? Hisham. I'm going to say Hisham. Hisham A, Desperation Hour, Floynor. Oh, man. You know what? Give me Leggett. I'm not chasing the points with Flournoy. Better quarterback, clearly, with Dak. But give me Leggett against Dallas. I'll go Leggett against Dallas there. Dylan Fink. Team Scatterbooms. Inappropriate name. Okay. Full PPR, pick 2. At least one has to be a tight end, though. Okay, interesting. Well, obviously, we're starting Tyler Warren. There's no question there. So we're starting Tyler Warren. We're always starting Tyler Warren. And then Tucker Kraft. Let's go. Flowers, T. Higgins. Yeah, too volatile. Give me Warren and Kraft. I know it feels weird going 12 personnel on your fantasy roster, but honestly, with those two guys, you're good. Keo 420. Blaze one up for me, pal. Derrick Henry or Keenan Allen in the flex. I'm going to go Derrick Henry. Look, I don't feel great about Henry or that offense in general, but dude, I know he's not as good as he was last year. There's no question. He's, he just doesn't look as explosive. That's fine. But I think he's going to get a lot of volume. I think Jim Harbaugh will be insane to give him the usage that he got last week. I think Baltimore leans on Derrick Henry a little bit more. Prada Jaden, I think, is your screen name. I don't know. I like screen names, man. I find it interesting. Full point PPR, pick 1, Bourne, Kamara, or Harrison. Marvin Harrison Jr., let's go. If it's Marvin Harrison Jr., I think we're going there. Again, I just want to chase a little bit of that upside. I really, really like Bourne's third on that list for me. It's Kamara or Harrison for me, and I am going to go with Harrison. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Kamara is dealing with a little bit of an injury. I could be wrong. Kathleen Gallion, half point, Odunze or McMillan. Oh, my gosh. What does your team look like? My goodness gracious. Odunze or McMillan? I'm going to say Odunze just because he's clearly the number one there. McMillan's clearly the number one too, but give me Chicago's offense over Carolina's offense right now. I'll go Odunze, but come on. I love both. Kathleen, you're killing me with these questions. I love both of them. Dylan Fink, Tyler Warren, by the way. I kind of assumed Tyler Warren and not the other Warren, Jalen Warren. That's what kind of I was assuming, but I guess I could be wrong. Okay, CMN. By the way, that's why it's very important. Can y'all put full names in here, or at least the initials? Like, help a brother out. Help me help you, if I'm quoting, Jerry Maguire. PPR. Oh, I think we already got to this one. Okay. Haram Gato Jr. What a name. Start one, flex PPR, Pollard, Kraft, or Trey Tucker. It's not Trey Tucker. Pollard or Kraft for me. Screw it. I'm going to say Kraft. I think Kraft gives you a better upside for a touchdown. Pollard has been good, but I do think they start to work in Tyjae Spears just a little bit more. Pollard's been getting by on just sheer volume and volume alone. That's it. That is it. I think he's been running okay. The offense is in shambles. Give me Kraft. Against Cincinnati? Yeah, man, I'll take it. Still going with Love over Daniels. Yes, 100%. Going with Love over Daniels. I don't know what Debo's status is. We already know that Terry McLaurin is out. So, yeah, I'm going with Love over Daniels, especially when Love is playing Cincinnati. Let's go. Gelsomino? Gelsomino or Gelsomino? I think it's Gelsomino. Gelsomino. Awesome. Italian as an MFer. I'm assuming here. Full PPR. Need 2 out of Zay Flowers, Ridley, or DJ Moore. I, again, don't have the best feelings about Ridley. I know he had the best game of his season last week. Out of nowhere. I mean, left for dead. On the injury report, has done nothing all season. Best game of the season for him last week. Come on, man. It makes no sense. This week, though, I am not trusting Calvin Ridley. I don't know. Maybe I'm incorrect in my thought process here. but I will go Zay Flowers. Again, I don't love it because they've got Cooper Rush here, but I'll go Zay Flowers and DJ Moore. Give me 1 second, y'all. Notification came across my scoreboard here. But again, okay, so here we go. PPR from Gerard. PPR T Charbonnet Bourne. I am going to go with Bourne on that one. I've talked about these three players quite a bit. Hasham, Flournoy, or Leggett. Sorry, I went Leggett there. Jim Coop, any reason to consider starting Kendre Miller over Pollard in PPR? No. Even though Pollard's, again, he's the starter. Kendre Miller's the backup. No, I'm not doing it. Jelly of the Month, PPR Flex. Bourne, current. Pivot to Juwan off the injury. You're an underdog. No. I'm not. I would actually prefer Bourne over Juwan, I think, just considering the injury. Okay. Since I asked, Gallione, the E is not silent. Gallione. Is that right? So Gallione. Oh, gotta love these Italian names. I agree. I totally agree. Gallione then. Kathleen Gallione. I'm going to remember that one. Kev, Bam Knight or Kendrick Bourne? Full PPR. Bam Knight or Kendrick? Oh, Kendrick Bourne. Again, look, Bam Knight. I'm not sure what Bam Knight's usage is going to be, man. If you told me Bam Knight's going to see 60% of snaps, obviously I'm saying Bam Knight. But I mean, he might be in a 3-man rotation here, dude. It's hard to trust him. It really is. I'll go Kendrick Bourne. I'll go Kendrick Bourne right there. Rams D or Packers D. So I'm going to go Packers D against Joe Flacco and the Bengals. They've been getting after it this year. They really have. Bengals offensive line's a mess, and the Bengals, the problem is that they can't game plan out of it. Cincinnati's game plan has generally been, we have better players than you. That's our game plan. It doesn't work, man. Not when your offensive line is in shambles, not when your quarterback is 40-year-old or however old he is. Joe Flacco, he's so old. Flacco's not mobile, right? So a lot of sacks. Flacco throws a lot of picks. That's all you care about from your defense. Packers defense, I think, is probably one of the best defensive matchups on the board. So, yeah, go ahead and give me Packers D. Reynaldo, Rincon, Mack, or Darnold. Charbonnet or Bam Bam. Mack or Darnold? Give me Darnold. He's been playing well. God, I really wanted to say Mack right there. But Mack's injury concerns me. I will say Darnold. And I do think that it could be a little bit of a higher scoring affair. By the way, y'all, it should be noted as well that Seattle secondary is dealing with a lot of injuries. Tariq Woolen's already been ruled out, and I know there's going to be a lot of sarcastic people saying, who cares? Tariq Woolen stinks. He doesn't stink. Okay? He doesn't stink. I don't think he's a great fit for this particular defense, but he doesn't stink. But he's out, right? And there's a lot of other secondary players that are also dealing with injuries there. So I think Tampa Bay, I bring this up to say, if you've got BTJ, all right, it increases the ceiling floor for him. Trevor Lawrence is an interesting play here. But I'm just hoping that Jacksonville puts up some numbers, because this will allow Seattle to also go and chase some numbers as well. A higher scoring game, by the way, helps the run game actually for Seattle as well. Okay, like Kenneth Walker is going to see a lot more passes than Zach Charbonnet. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm going right there. So give me Darnold there. And then if we're trying to pick between, two guys, Charbonnet or Bam Bam, I'm going to go Bam Knight. He's at least the nominal starter. I just don't think Charbonnet's a great fit in this offense. He's been getting by on touchdowns. If he doesn't get a touchdown, I don't think he's very good. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe he does pop one into the end zone again. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I'm not, I'm not really trusting it that much. Let me just show you guys what I'm talking about here. Charbonnet. Okay. Charbonnet. All right. He has scored 3 touchdowns in 4 games played. And in those games, he's barely cracked double-digit PPR points. We're talking about a guy that's got 0 targets, 2 targets. He has 4 targets on the year, right? Not running that well. His YPC is bad, right? And again, unless he gets into the end zone, he's been bad. Week 1, he scored a touchdown and still only got you 10.7. Week 2, he doesn't score a touchdown. He got you 1 PPR point. 1. Week 4, he missed week 3. Week 4, he gets you 12.4, but again, he scores a touchdown. If he doesn't score that touchdown, 6.4. Week 5, scores a touchdown, gets you 11.8. If he doesn't score that, he gets you 5.8. Hard to rely on Zach Charbonnet maintaining a 3 touchdown pace over 4 games played. I don't like it. I'm gonna go Bam Bam here. I'm gonna go Bam Bam. Hold on. We got a super chat. We got Scott Koh in the building. What's up, baby? Scott Koh. Good to see you, brother. Jalen Warren or JMO. PPR flex. Is it finally the JMO week? I don't know. It really hasn't seemed like it's been the JMO week ever. I'm going to go Jalen Warren here. I'm more comfortable with Jalen Warren. JMO, we're talking he can get you nothing. He can get you 20. But he's been getting you a lot more zeros than he has been getting you 20s, man. He has 1 good game. That's it. Week 2 against Chicago. Chicago's defense not very good. Where he had 2 catches for 108 and a touchdown. Other than that, he's been doing absolutely nothing. They actually tried to get him involved against Cleveland. 8 targets. Turned that into 2 grabs for 40. Ugh. Give me Jalen Warren. Again, I might look like an idiot. It's supposed to be a high-scoring game, but Kansas City's defense, and I think it will be a high-scoring game. But it's on. By the way, it's on the road too. On the road, Detroit doesn't play as good on the road. Jared Goff doesn't play as good on the road. I'm just saying. Give me Jalen Warren right there. Light odor then. I'm confused by this one. Lee Ving, Bam not worth a wait and see pickup. Yes, 100% yes. 100% yes. I would say definitely pick him up and stash him if you've got the space. But if not, don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? We're good. Okay, so I think we are through the questions. I think I've caught up. Yeah, baby. I love it. I got to it in time as well. Hell yeah. I'm excited for myself, dude. Leaving Tariq Woolen. Yeah. Oh, I see. He doesn't stink. He's got a light odor. That's a leaving. Accurate. Look, he's just not good in this system, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's a completely different system, right? You know, like they drafted him to be like this, like cover 3 guy, and like, you know, now they're running heavy cover 2. It's like he's not a. I don't know. Maybe he's just not a cover 2. I don't know. Or maybe he's just slowed down too. I don't know. There you go. By the way, we got 5 minutes here. I am going to pull up my sleeper list here. I can't believe I actually have time to talk to you guys about my sleepers. I'm so excited. Okay, and if you have questions, obviously throw them in the chat. Okay, I really like Michael Penix this week against Buffalo. Home road splits big time here, okay? 9 games, 5 at home, 4 on the road. In 5 games, he has 7 touchdowns. In 4 road games, he's got 1 touchdown. His completion percentage dropped 65% to 54%. He's got more interceptions per game. He's got 3 interceptions in both home games and on the road. But again, remember, that's 3 interceptions in 4 games on the road, 3 interceptions in 5 games at home. Michael Penix, I think, is going to be chasing Buffalo here just a little bit. I like Penix is one of my favorite streamers this week. Mac Jones is one of my favorite streamers against Tampa Bay. I know a lot of Mac Jones questions right now. The Bucs have given up the 5th most fantasy points per game to the quarterback position. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game as well. I'm just a little bit worried about that injury. Bryce Young, another streamer, if y'all need it. Again, Cowboys have given up Cowboys have given up 24 fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks in every single game played. That's insane. All right, running back sleepers. You know about JCM. If you've got him, fire him up. Kamani Vidal, I have as a deep sleeper alert. Miami's been terrible against the run. Terrible against the run. 5.57 yards per carry allowed to opposing running backs. That is what, third worst? Yeah, third worst in the NFL. Romeo Doubs, really good sleeper here against Cincinnati. Again, he leads the team. He leads all wide receivers in snaps played, targets, receptions, and yards. He's got 4 touchdowns on the year. That's as many as everyone else on the roster combined. 7 passing touchdowns in total. Romeo Doubs has 4 of them. Pretty damn good. Kendrick Bourne, with Ricky Pearsall already being ruled out. Jawan Jennings is working through an ankle injury. He's got a rib injury as well. And listen, it's a pass funnel. I forgot to mention this for the Bucs. It's a pass funnel for the Bucs. Okay, run defense has been really, really tough, really good. At the same time, they've been giving up big plays through the air, right? So they've allowed the 4th fewest rushing yards to running backs, and yet, and they're also the toughest in terms of yards after contact allowed. So they have been stopping these dudes dead cold at the tackle point. So it's a pass funnel there for Tampa Bay. You generally want to play your pass catchers against the Bucs. Alec Iomanor is a deep sleeper this week. I said Alec Iomanor last week. I got burned. But I'm going back to the well this week. Alec Iomanor, if you're looking in like a DFS tournament format or you're just desperate, deeper league, Alec Iomanor. Raiders have allowed the 3rd most fantasy points per game to outside wide receivers. Iomanor has played 85% of his snaps lined up outside. Calvin Ridley is such an enigma, man. I have no idea what to do with him. But I do think Alec Iomanor, deep sleeper here, if you absolutely need it. Finally, Hunter Long. I think I got this one in. Hunter Long against Seattle. Yo, this one's a little crazy, man. Seahawks have allowed the 4th most fantasy points to that position group. Remember, Brenton Strange is on IR. And the Seahawks have somehow allowed 4 different tight ends to score double-digit PPR points in 5 weeks. It's pretty good. So, again, I think Hunter Long is in a really, really good spot. By the way, a 5th-year guy is Hunter Long. He came from the LA Rams, and I bring this up because he knows that Sean McVay playbook. Liam Cohen is a Sean McVay guy. I think there's a lot of similar elements to both of their playbooks, and I think that's going to help Hunter Long stay on the football field. Remember, this is a guy that already has 2 touchdowns, Hunter Long. So, I like him this week a lot. Actually, in my big money league, I have him in there as my starting tight end. I'm very confident in Hunter Long, even though, full disclosure, he is a deep sleeper though, for sure. But still, I'm among deep sleepers. I feel very confident with Hunter Long in there at the tight end spot. All right, guys, that's it. It's the top of the hour. Games are kicking off. We're underway. Again, if you guys don't follow me on social media, if you want to, great. If you don't want to, that's fine. I'll be here next week. But again, I do a pretty good job of answering the DMs in my social media accounts, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at James D. Koh on all of those platforms. If you want to follow me there, feel free. If you want to get your questions in before Sunday to help you set your lineup, you could do that one as well. Anyways, I appreciate y'all, man. You guys are the best. You guys really are. I love doing this chat. I love the questions. And you guys are so engaged. It's great, man. Anyways, hey, listen, I'll see you guys next week. Last thing I'll say is, remember, it's never too late to chase your dreams. All right, peace. Good luck. Good luck to everyone there in week number 6. We'll see you.